Happy Sunday night, everyone. Welcome to Pat Nash Talks on Sunday night. I know you're like, okay, she looked like she just jumped in here. Today or this weekend was a busy travel weekend for me. I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. I know I did. So, happy Sunday. And this is Pat Nash Talks, where we have the conversations that create relationships, real relationships. And so I'm your host, Pat Nash, and it is Sunday night. And this is the night I come on live, usually. I know last Sunday you saw a recording, but I come on every Sunday night live as life permits. And we talk about real conversations. And I got a good one tonight, y'all. This is something what I've been talking about with friends and family members, and the way. Hey, Mary, um, the way this subject came about is a scenario where. Oh my goodness! I just looked at my um, a scenario where a gentleman and I were talking about provision and providing for um, a woman or being in a relationship where they provide for a woman. And we had a slightly disagreement on how he felt like being in a relationship, what he was responsible for, right? So, long story short, I asked a question. And you guys, I'm probably going to switch to a different venue for a moment shortly. Uh, but I asked him a quick question, you guys, because I'm probably going to go to a commercial and get on a different venue. Hey, Bertie, I asked him a question. I said, what if a man treated your precious daughter like you treat your woman? How would you feel about that? And he's like, well, I don't treat my woman bad. I said, yeah, but you have a real hard problem with providing for her or doing anything like that for her. But, you don't mind being with her, but you don't want to provide for her and you don't want to do anything extra for her. And I think I remember you saying that you had to do this for your daughter, you had to run to do that for your daughter, your baby, your baby, your baby. And, but you really can't say that you would be happy with the way you treat your girlfriend as if someone would treat your daughter that way. So I'm going to see if we can get through this without having to repeat next week. So he said on the flip side, but we're going to deal with women right now. We're going to deal with men who don't feel like they have to do a certain thing for a woman or may have a problem with provision. And, I talk about this a lot, it seems like, or if I'm not talking about it a lot on here, I'm talking about it a lot in life, because I'm sending a message to someone, because it comes up. You guys, I talk to men and women, right? So I talked to a brother this week. It's all related. Catch me, it's related. I talked to a brother this week that says to me, I don't like it that my girlfriend, looks like let's see, looks like I'm having some technical difficulty. Let's put it on here. He said he didn't like it that his wife or girlfriend was so independent. He's like, our fights and our battle, I think, comes from the fact that she's so overly independent and I'm so overly independent. So the, oh man, this is stopping. This is freezing on me a lot. I'm gonna switch to a different venue and see if that helps for tonight. It usually goes like that sometimes. Sometimes you have great days, even if you've looked at it and with your producer. Here we go. Hold on. Thank you. Hold on. Okay, there we go. I had to switch to a different device. So bear with me, you guys. I need to get this conversation out because I've had the conversation of provision in a relationship a long, long time. So let me show you where the confusion lies, right? So I have a brother that says, I don't like it that my girl is so independent. The problem is she's independent, I'm independent. So who gets their way? That becomes a battle, right? And then you have a gentleman that may say, I got with her, I loved her, I appreciated her because, she's a great provider. Why all of a sudden she don't want to provide, or why she feels like since I've come into her life, she doesn't have to do anything. I have to completely take care of her. So my thing is this, and some women don't really have a guideline to say this is how my dad would treat me. Hey Tony D, this is how my dad would treat me, and this is the only way that I'm going to let another man treat me. And then you may have a gentleman that says, that's because he's your dad. I'm not your dad. I'm your husband, right? I'm not your dad. I'm your boyfriend. I'm not your dad. Okay, so what if I tell you the average woman would be, I wouldn't even say average, women like me who are driven and have our own, really, trust me, I can very well take care of myself, right? I had to learn that. I had to learn that it's okay to be able to provide for yourself. And you can still be a woman who loves or desires a man, but you provide for yourself, right? So stick with me on this. Sorry, make sure this volume is up. So we're having this conversation, and I'm saying there's no wonder, roles or whatever is confusing for couples. Um, because what you would love for your daughter to have, you're not willing to give it to someone else's daughter. That's deep to me. It's like, why would you not be willing to give, sorry, be willing to give to your daughters, or be willing to give to your woman what you would want provided for your daughters. To me, that's a little hypocritical. So I know several men that desire to be in a relationship with two women or more. They want their main chick to be okay with it. I'm not talking stuff I'm making up, you guys. Sometimes I wish I did make this up, right? But the double standard is, I can do that. I'm a guy. But if a woman does that, there's something totally wrong with her. Well, check this. There's something totally wrong with you if the woman you have is not enough. You know what I'm saying? If she's not enough, not saying that, hey, you may want to do something else. You may want to, I don't know, whatever's between the two, you guys do you, as long as you're both consenting adults. Like, I think even in a marriage situation, they'll say the marriage bed is undefiled, right? So, let me say, good evening, good evening. Let me say this. This is my guideline for you brothers. If what you're giving your woman, you wouldn't want your son to do it, and you wouldn't want your daughter to be on the receiving end of it, check yourself. Honestly, check yourself and see if first of all, what your theology is and what your mindset is. Because I have a hard time. And let me explain something, because I'm going to go back to me. Let me go back to me. I like to give my own testimony, right? So I have two sons, two grown sons. And just today, I can show you the text. I sent a text to my oldest son. He's celebrating my middle granddaughter's birthday. I sent a text to him and I said, son, thank you. I'm so very proud of you. If I haven't told you recently, I'm so very proud of you. He is a husband to but one woman, one wife. He is not cheated. He is more than a provider for his home. His children, my grandbabies, are spoiled. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be, because I'm their Mimi, right? But they're spoiled. He has daughters. And guess what? What he does for his wife, he wants his daughters to understand, you better not accept anything less from a man. So go back to me. I'm going to do my own personal testimony, right? Talking to this gentleman on the phone, very good father, right? Very doting, and want to make sure his daughters have everything that they need. And we'll talk about it sometimes, right? I think it's cool. My daddy would sacrifice for me even as an adult. I didn't ask him to, and I wanted to not have to ask him to, because he had done it so long, right? It's like, Dad, it's your turn. It's your turn. It's your mom's turn to go do your thing. You know, I got this. I'm going to be okay. And you know what? I tease and I like, even if I have to eat beans and rice for a week, I like beans and rice to understand how to budget, how to make good on my money, take care of myself. Fast forward to I flip it to this gentleman and I asked him the question. I said, "You see how wonderful you are to your daughters? Wouldn't you want another man to be that way?" He said, "Yeah, I teach him that. What I do for you, you better not accept anything less from a man you date. I would be disappointed that I've taken care of you, I provided for you, I was there for you, I coach you, I talk to you, let you know I love you, and I do nice things for you because they need to be done. Not even if you don't ask me to. They need to be done. I'm your dad. I'm going to look out for you. There is no other husband or man in your life right now." He got that part right because when he does, that's going to be that guy's responsibility, right? So, as a great father, I ask him that question. You do all these things for your daughters. How do you feel about doing those things for your woman or your girl? And he was quiet for a minute. He said, "That's a good question. I think you should talk about that." Because let's be honest and let's flip it. Let's flip it. He asked this too. He said, "I think you could say that for women too." Sometimes women, um, I don't know if it's all women. I know this is a cultural thing, Black women. Hey, Ken. Um, Sometimes women will raise their daughters and spoil their sons, right? Oh, they want to encourage him. He can't do no wrong. If he messes up, hey, he messed up. But the girls, they're like, look, you know better than this. I expect better out of you. A lot of times the guys get slack. They get to stay out later, younger. They get to do whatever they want to do. But guys, think about this. And my dad used to say it to me. He's like, but they're guys. And I'm like, yeah, but they could be in trouble too. They could be out there having premarital sex or whatever. He said, but they're guys. In other words, that's expected. They're supposed to be. But you guys, they're doing that with somebody's daughters. Think about that. It is so funny to me. Hey, fam. Hey, Kelly. It is so funny to me that the standard that you give out, you don't necessarily want that if it's bad um for your daughters or your sons. You want the best, but you're not willing to give it to your wife. I'm gonna read that, Bert. I see that's a comment. I bet it's a good one too. But you're not willing to do it for your woman or your wife, but you would expect it from your sons and to take care of your daughter-in-law and your baby. But you'd be like, oh no, wifey gonna have to kick in. She got to do 50-50. But you would have a different conversation for your daughter-in-law or your daughter sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm speaking to you as grown folks who say you want a good loving relationship to expect out of yourself what you would expect out of someone else for your child. And let me tell you why I had to mention children. For some crazy reason, a lot of us adults, and we're going to do a whole show on that. I talked to Michael. Michael said we need to do a whole series on the proper way to be an adult, the proper way to be a parent once your children are adults. Because trust me when I say it is jacked up. We got some stuff way offline here. We wonder why our children are not, or our adult children are not solid citizens who are responsible and all that. Because in our wanting them to have, I'm looking at comments on the other one because I can see better. In us wanting them to have, I'm sorry. In our wanting the crazy. Okay. In our wanting them to have more than we ever had, we end up spoiling them. And we end up providing so much that they don't have to go work for it. And then we wonder why I did this when I was a teenager, and I did this with a teenager, and I can't get mine to do any of those. Well, they never had lack. When you were a teenager, you had lack. So sometimes that's a motivator. It's okay to say no to these grown children who are getting themselves in a mess and acting like children when they're really adults. When it's convenient, you can't tell them what to do because they're adults until they need you, right? So something is wrong in that and how we treat our spouse versus how we treat our grown adult children still, even though they're not babies, right? So I wanted to get on and talk about it. You guys give me some feedback. I'm gonna go look at some of the comments. if you will, put some comments in and I will look at them and we'll talk about them. But I know it sounds like a short conversation, but the reality is we have people out here who are wanting to be in a relationship. They really do. But they have a problem. I don't know if you're putting it up, Angie. I can't see those comments. I don't know if they have a problem with what is expected of them, or I can't see that anymore. I'm sorry, you guys. It is. I had to switch, and this is the beauty. Isn't this the beauty of y'all just being friends? And I'm talking to y'all from my couch. I had to switch to my phone because my laptop was giving me issues. So he said, I used to take my daughter on dates to show her how a man should treat her, and told her not to accept anything less. She's married now and very happy. My son-in-law is a gentleman and my baby is very happy. Thank you, Bert. Thank you for sharing that. That's all I'm saying, man. Like Bert did the right thing. I watch young men out there, and I love, 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 and I hate they didn't have these when I was little. They have these beautiful daddy daughter proms, right? And I understand there's a lot of women out there, and there's children whose dads are not in their life. But you have some brothers that really want to be, or some men that really want to be in their child's life, even if they're not with their mom, and they work really hard to make that happen, right? So they're taking them on these dates and they're opening doors for them, like he said, dressing them up, paying for their dress, paying to get their hair done, because these are daddy's little princesses, right? I'm like, please, let me call you daddy. I mean, are you doing that for me? Oh, yeah, you daddy, you big papa, you poppy love, poppy chula, whatever you want to be. If you're treating me like that, think about it. And they said, honestly, you can tell how a woman is loved based on what she looks like. And I used to get offended, honestly, you guys. I was married for over 20 years, right? And I would come to church and they would say, "Oh my God, First Lady, you look good." And I'm like, okay, stop calling me First Lady. First of all, that is not me. So, but but my husband was a minister. He was not the pastor of the church, right? But they would say things like, "Brother, you're doing a good job. You're doing very good. You're taking care of my sister." And I'm thinking, wait a minute. I work too. I do this. But I understand. I understand. It shows on your face. It actually shows on your face as a woman when you're having stress with the person you love, when you are not happy and you're not being loved properly or feel like you're being loved properly. As a woman, I don't know if you guys can tell me if you've noticed this, but as a woman, it starts to show on you. I mean, I hate to say it, but it makes you it makes you look stressed out. I was trying to read. I thought I had another comment pop up. But oh, you did. Okay. I'm sorry. Look, I'm gonna have to just leave these glasses on. Y'all know I hate them, right? But I love the comments. Okay. So thank you, Dallas. I mean Tony D. I don't know what to call you, Tony D. We have to make sure that we share with our daughters how to love and respect a good man as well. Thank you so much, because I was about to get to that. When I did counseling, marital counseling for couples in crisis, the women would accuse me of taking side with the men all the time. And I said, I don't take side with the men, but I also am not going to give us slack if we got somebody doing good things. Like Dallas said, true story, you guys. I promise you, I'm not telling nobody's name. Orlando says, yes, I have seen it many times, those stress lines. Yes, yes, yes. You can tell it on their face. I'm going to get back to Tony D's comment. But as I was coming out of the hotel room this morning, there was a beautiful woman standing there. And well, she wasn't standing there. She was actually sitting on the curb, like, where you park your cars. There's a little small lip. She was sitting there, right? And I could see her from the back, really beautiful, bright green dress, um, cute little thing, had her heels on. She got off the curb and she was coming out. She was coming in the door as I was coming back in the door. So when I walked out to put some stuff in my car, was getting ready to go back in to get the rest of my things. I don't know about y'all, but I pack a lot when I'm traveling, just in case, you know what I'm saying? So I was going back in to get the rest. And she's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I got it with my card." So when she stepped up, I looked at her and I said, "Wow, you look absolutely beautiful today." And she just kind of smiled. She said, "So do you." Y'all, when I tell you her makeup was flawless, except she had some smudges under here, and her demeanor, how she was sitting on the curb. And when we opened the door and I was going in, I saw how slowly she was going, taking her time to get into her room. And you know what I said instantly? I was talking to my good friend and my producer on the phone. And I said, something in my spirit says she loves somebody, possibly her husband. And I kind of looked on her ring finger. She was married. She had a big, probably 5 carat uh, ring on her finger, which basically says, hey, usually if you have that, you can afford it, right? So I saw her demeanor and how she looked, and I'm like, I felt like, hey, sis, hey, Kaya, I can't, girl, don't even get me started. But I felt like I felt her heaviness. And I said, the sad part is that's from someone who's broken your heart, you moving like that. And so I'm gonna go back to what Tony D says, because on the flip side of that, it doesn't matter how much they're caring for you if they're not loving you properly, right? And the flip side is men who are doing their thing. And let me tell you, there are some men doing their thing, because the reason I'm saying flip side, I'm telling you how this woman looked like she was well provided for, but not loved. That's out of balance too. So going back to what Tony D said, teach your daughters how to honestly love. And I don't know if he said respect, but to love and respect. Yeah, respect is a big one. A good man. And I would say a husband, because I've said this many times before, if you didn't catch it. There's a difference between a woman and a wife, right? We don't treat your spouse or somebody else. Thank you, sir. I was going to say that too. You're reading my mind, brother. But there's a difference between a woman and a wife, because, a woman just requires some basic physiological parts to be deemed a woman, no matter what they're claiming their pronouns are, right? And there's a difference between a man and a husband. If you have a husband, that is a different definition than a man. A man just needs to carry. I wanted to say something that I would say to my friends. I'm not going to say it because you don't know who's watching right now. But yeah, it takes more to be calling yourself a husband than for you to have male parts, if you get what I'm saying, right? Um, I'll say something else that was inappropriate. Okay. So with that being said, women, it is very possible for you to have a man that you're married to. Catch me what I'm saying. Very possible that you're married to a man. I mean, women do it all the time. They marry women too, but I'm just telling you these things. But it's more to being married to a man than having a husband. You can be married to a man and not have a husband. My definition and the definition of a husband is someone who is going to take on a similar role that your daddy takes on. So when your daddy says, I want you to marry a man who treats you like I treat you, because I know I take good care of you, I love you, I show you you're loved, I take care of you, and I do these things and I do that thing. I want you to be married to a man like that. He's not saying I want you to be married to a man. He's like, I want you to have a husband. That's what husbands do. So, time to get the popcorn. Okay, it's about to get good. So, with this being said, ladies, y'all know I got in trouble for saying, stop running around here saying y'all are prize, because there's prizes in Cracker Jacks and Kids Meal. So what kind of prize are you? Are you a woman or your wife? If you're married and you have made that commitment to be married, um, expect that that man you're married to will want some things that he won't ask you for. He really won't. Sometimes he will, sometimes he won't. First of all, if he married a woman, he might want you to, in traditional culture, behave like one, not deny him um, intimate relations, not deny him respect, um, respect slash honor for who he is to you. care about who anybody he is to anybody else, but who he is to you. And I'm learning that it is so important for a man to have his home taken care of. So women sometimes say, this is not fair. I have to work. I have to look good. I have to have a clean house or help clean the house, make sure the house is clean. I have to do that. Clean, cook, all those things they expect a wife or a woman to do. Bring home the bacon, fried up in the pan. They should have never made that stupid commercial because it's giving people too many dumb ideas about real life situations. Anyway, because who cares if the bacon's fried in your pan or somebody else's? You get what I'm saying? Not by asking you to be a superwoman. I'm asking you to love yourself and have a balance. But if you've chosen to be a wife, even if he didn't ask for it, he may expect some food in his house to be where he can get in it. He don't have to duck and dodge trash, or come and clean up himself because he's tired too. And he might want you to be his arm candy still, because when he saw you and he loved you, it was something in you that he saw at that time. My mom, God rest her soul, is very, very smart. And she said the same thing it took to get a man is the same thing it takes to keep him. And Betty Jean, I used to be so irritated. She would not let me leave my house with my hair looking any kind of way, with no lipstick on. You had to have some lipstick and some mascara on if you ain't had nothing else at 13, 12, 13. It was so crazy. Yeah, I was the tomboy, so that I was not into that, right? My sister was all in, and I think they were both ganging up on me often. The point is, my mother, this is an old-fashioned mom who was a stay-at-home mom when I was young, took care of her kids. We were well taken care of. We were well fed. The house was well taken care of and managed. She was the manager of the house. And my dad worked 2 jobs, and it was 6 of us. Later, it was 8 of us. So they had time to be loving to each other, and he had enough energy for that. And when we wanted something, my mom would send the daughters in there. I need you to go in there and tell dad, food is ready. He needs to get up and eat. He'll have to go to work shortly, but tell him to get up and eat, or we'll bring him something or whatever. Go in there and hug your dad around the neck and kiss him and thank him for being such a hard worker for you girls and for, for the family. And so, of course, he wanted to see his daughters. So, we would go in there all the time. And then I'm in there going, Dad, I need some new cheerleading stuff. I need some dresses. I got to get a dress. This is coming up or that's coming up. Think about all that stuff on him. But they worked as a partnership. What I thought, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm moving around. What I thought was oppressive because I was a tomboy. My mom cooking, always fussing about cleaning and don't do this and don't mess that up. I just clean that. Y'all come and help me hang out these clothes. You help me do with the clothes and help me with that. And I'm like, why is she always doing this stupid stuff? I don't never want to do that. That was my thought. And it was like, why don't she just go be a businesswoman or a job? We all won't have no money for this. We would if she go to work. But you guys, I didn't have enough sense to know she was sacrificing to be there for us, because now that I'm a woman, trust me when I say, am I doing that wrong? Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's easier to go out and make the bacon and stay away from the kids because they can wear you out, especially when they're little. She made a sacrifice to be at home. Now, she liked it. My mom really loved her children, and she didn't have that lifestyle, so she wanted to provide it for her kids. But she stayed at home and took care of us and made sure my dad didn't have to worry about us eating, us being vulnerable to what some kids are, after school. He made a sacrifice as a man. So it's been hard for me, and I know he is grateful for this. It's hard for me to accept anything less. I don't care what the new trends are. It's hard for me to accept anything less than somebody who would treat me like my daddy treated me. And what I love about it, most anybody who would get my time and my attention is a good parent. And they were raised being a good parent. They were good to their children, because I know a lot of times those values carry over what's important to you. I'm just saying, men and women, love your partner and make room for them and respect them and honor them like you want your kids to do you and what you give your kids. We sacrifice for these babies. We sacrifice. I know our spouses are grown, but I think the relationship would be so much stronger if you sacrificed and you provided for, you did all those things um, for your, I don't know why I can't get this right. You did all those things for your spouse that you would want someone to do for and with your children. So that comment had to come in because I have sisters that be like, no. Now my son is tired and this and that, and that. I understand. He goes to school and he goes play football. And when he come home, he's tired. He just want to rest. So I let him eat and lay around. But my husband ain't gonna eat and lay around if I've been at work all day and he's been at work all day. And I'm like, school is work and work is school. So if your husband got to get up, oh, this young man definitely got to get up and do something. So I'm not saying that women, don't get mad at me, don't do over the top stuff for their children that they would never do for their man. I think that's wrong too. So I'm not just telling you fellas to step it up. If you feel like your wife needs to be doing overly abundant more than you would expect your daughter to do if she was married to someone, ask yourself, why is that a double standard? Why would you want your princess treated better than you're treating your queen? I think your princess needs to see how you treat a queen as well as how a queen should be treated. If you know what I'm saying? Because men, I hear men saying, telling their daughters, um, I want you to be loved like your daddy loves you. I want you to get a man who loves you like your daddy loves you, right? So if that's the case, why can't you be that man that woman will want to call daddy? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I think that would humble her a lot more. It should. And ladies, if you're getting all those things and you still don't appreciate it, you're the reason why men don't do this for other women. I'm just saying. They're like, hey, they don't appreciate it. So they go tell their friends at work, man, I do all those things for my wife and she don't appreciate it. And then those guys get the wrong idea that if you give a woman too much, she's not going to appreciate it. And she's not going to do that. I think if you give a woman that, they may not. But if you give your wife that, your queen, the person who is your person for life, I think she'll appreciate it. That's just me. I think she'll appreciate it. And if she doesn't, that's something, y'all need to book an appointment and talk to me. Because as a woman, she gonna get the truth. I always tease my girlfriend. I'll be like, I'm with you when you're right, but when you're wrong, because I love you, I'm gonna have to say it. Um, pull the popcorn out, Bert. We're gonna have to talk about it. If you're wrong, we're wrong. So let me go back. Is that Bert talking to me again? Or is this Dr. Tony D? Sometimes in this time that we live in, daughters who are being raised in a household where the woman is broken or had, oh, this is good, or had many bad relationships, those women pour negativity into the daughter. I have seen that happen, and I've had to minister and teach the daughter how to combat that mindset. Oh my gosh, good comment. Very good comment. I was going to say Dr. Tony. Very good comment because as you know, a lot of you don't know, on Level Up Nation, we have a platform of shows, right? So I am the platform that talks about relationships, and I will do a lot of coaching. I'm trying to get this thing right. Angie's going to get me after this. So I try to, what's that? What an awesome topic. Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. As I was saying, the platform here, you guys, I do a lot of couples coaching, right? These are couples who come together and want to stay together, right? To be happy and all of that. So, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get there right. So I do that. But there comes a time when childhood traumas kick in and people don't even know why they act like they act. They don't even know why they're sad or why they can't connect to this man or connect to this woman, why they're not going to talk to me any kind of way. And it's like, well, that wasn't meant to be a negative comment, so everything is, a chip on the shoulder. What happens is, let me see if I can turn this. I'm sorry, Angie. Yeah, my producer's going to get me. Okay, there we go. So what happens is you get a situation where coaches like myself, we can't help the couple because it's the individual that's broken. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you guys, I had no idea. Dr. Kyrie Listens is going to be on our platform, right? And she's going to share with you some things she's been sharing with me. A lot of things or reasons that people can't connect um, is because of stuff that they went through as children. It has even nothing to do with the partner that they're with right now. It has to do with stuff they've gone through as children, right? And it's very, very unfair to the partner they're with. But they have to walk through that thing. And my heart goes out to them because they love the people, but they, please forgive my French, but they giving them hell, you guys, because of stuff they went through as children, and they don't even know why. And then they've been taught not to talk about it. You know how bad secrets stayed in the family. You don't tell what goes on in the family. You don't, you keep that stuff in the house and all of that. You guys, we are very unhealthy in that way. We keep everything in. We don't talk about it. And so I'm just so excited and thrilled to say that we have a doctor in the house. Dr. Kyrie Listens will be joining Level Up Nation next month. You guys, I can't wait. I'm going to be on there starting some mess, Bert, so you have to be there with me. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm gonna have to send that. So anyway, she's gonna be on and we're gonna get a chance to ask her how to handle these childhood traumas, right? And what do we do to help our spouse or people we love and we know get through this thing because it's rough. So Bert is saying, Dr. Kyrie is awesome. Yes, she is. She is. And I enjoyed our interview with her on Level Up. Okay, so you did. You got a chance to talk to her. So you guys, listeners, Level Up Nation followers and listeners, please understand, we are seriously trying to cover all levels of lifestyle to make things, to make, I would say, Level Up Nation followers a lot wiser, great relationships, great, what would you say? You got relationships on here, music. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Give me 1 second. We're going to break to a commercial, but just listening to the previous shows, lock it on Level Up Nation, you guys. I will make a link to make sure that you have all the shows. Sunday is a great day for ministry. You go to church or whatever, but to come on and to hear the heart of people who have these virtual live talk shows, and you can chime in and talk to them, is incredible. But we're going to take a break and we're going to come back shortly on Pat Nash Talks, and we got more comments to make. That's just it. Hold on.
Have you been sluggish, bloated, overweight? You could be toxic from your environment, food, and medications. It's time for a clean start. Come by or book online today.
Prepared, crafted, and baked with love. A taste so delectable, like they were sent from heaven above. With every bite, a soothing warmth settles and abides. It feels like a hug on the inside. Kyrie's cookies explode with flavorful taste no one can duplicate. Joy permeates the soul with every bite, creating a tasty intimacy to savor, a merry delight. A sprinkle of joy, a pinch of happiness, a dash of faith, a cup of compassion and happiness are ingredients that give Kyrie's cookies bona fide uniqueness. Kyrie's cookies make my heart sing, packaged with a royal presentation fit for a king. Kyrie's cookies, a tasty treat that are simple, a pleasure to eat.
And we're back. So, hopefully I got some stability here. So I wanted to just finish out this session and I know we'll probably have to have a part two, you guys, because this is going to slide right into the relationship of a parent and their children and the proper relationship that they should have after your children have left the home. I'll leave this on, y'all. Y'all gonna have to bear with me. Counseling is not taboo. It really helps. Thank you, Kelly. So we have been taught, we have been taught, especially in our culture, y'all know, like, it's an embarrassing thing, African Americans, we've been taught that you don't take anything outside of the house, everything stays in. And then when you get older, that permeates into you can't talk to anybody about the way you feel or about what happened to you or did not happen for you as a child that is affecting you now. So I'm a staunch believer. And for those of you, because I was challenged with this before, who are of a certain faith that feel like you don't need to talk to nobody but Jesus, I'm going to tell you this right now. A lot of times we will go to the Bible to make it say what we want it to say or any other religious document. But the sheer fact that there are rules in there on how to deal with how someone offends you, that you go and you take it to a third party, bring that person before the third party and talk to them. And if it's not settled that way, you bring that person before the congregation or the group of people that they're accountable to and have them to try to talk to them to settle this disagreement before you cut them off and never deal with them again. Those are some steps to take, right? Now you can continue to go through that process if you desire, but if you at least made those steps to make it better and it doesn't happen, these are ways that you just cut it off to stay away from being offended, right? So if that is the case and there's something going on in your life that has offended you, a third party could be like a counselor or a coach or whatever. Now, they may not be able to go to that other person on your behalf, but they can at least hear your grievance and hear your heart. And it does help to talk about it. Trust me when I say sometimes you have so much pent up anger and you don't know why you're angry. And it's because all that stuff is allowed to stay inside of you and it festers and it becomes a nasty, stinking mess that when anything comes out of your mouth is usually not kind and sweet. It's usually just the opposite because there's so much anger built up because you haven't been able to talk about your problems because you've been taught that. You guys, I'm sorry. Even though we love our parents, they were trying this thing out too, called adulthood or parenting. Nobody teaches you that. Nobody teaches it in a college course. And if they did, guess what? What they were taught, some of the rules would apply, but it wouldn't all work for your child because we do know that our children are all different. Like I could probably yell at one and fuss at them and they'd be so hurt that they wouldn't do it again. The other one would be like, hey, this one's worth a spanking or a beat down because I'm going to go do exactly what I want to do. So there is differences in children all the time. And there's differences in people, but children or grown folks that you're no longer a child. You no longer have to blame your parents and they're not responsible for your life at this point. You're responsible. Guess who gets to be the adult now? You don't like how your parents treated you, do something different with yours, right? So let's hit some of these comments. Oh yeah. So Kimberly is saying that's why in counseling you have to break both partners down and then bring them together to share the issues. If they choose to stay and work it out, the counselor should give them the tools to be successful. That's true, Kim. I know a lot of times when I'm sharing with couples, they have their own individual homework to do because when you come together, I don't care if you're quote one now, that's still two individuals. You were raised differently. You had different circumstances, different things affect you different ways. Communication is always going to be necessary. Yes, you're going to learn each other's body language. There's going to be times you can look at each other and you already know, okay, she's not feeling this vibe. We got to go. Or he looks at me and it's like, okay, get your child before I kill him. It's going to be some things that are unspoken that you learn over the days, but ain't nobody no mind reader. So I don't like it when men or women don't talk to their partners about what bothers them. That's not keeping the peace. You're keeping the poison. That's what you're doing. And that poison is not hurting anybody but you because, well, it spills over and hurts other people. But at the end of the day, you're the one who are hurting or feeling neglected because you were unable or unwilling to communicate what is wrong, what is eating you, good or bad, wrong or right. You have to say it. How will you know if that person cares about it or whatever? And I hear this all the time. They know what they did. They're old enough to know what they did. And what they did to me and what they didn't do for me. I'm not going to even say anything to them. I want to say the S word. I'll be like, please, that is the dumbest thing ever. Because if you don't have to voice everything, y'all, I'm just saying this, you guys, please let some things ride. I used to get fussed at for not closing the drawer all the way. It would be a little crack. Or, hey, the toothpaste wasn't rolled all the way up neatly. Oh, when you brush your teeth, toothpaste splashed up here. Stop it. You know, people are dying, right? People are getting sick and not feeling well. And for you to make those things a big issue all the time, you know, it's kind of petty. So know what? Not sweat the small stuff, but the big things that are bothering you, please share. Please share. They can't read your mind. So I'm going back up to what Bert Bert wants some look, Bert's gonna order some Bert, go order some cookies from Dr. Kyrie. I mean, oh my gosh, when I was in Atlanta, I had like 2, 3, 4 of those things. So Bert is saying this is a great topic. I had to learn how to balance being a father to my daughter as well as learn to be her friend. That is so good, brother. But I tell these kids, I might be old school. It'd be like, look, I love you, and I don't care if you're not my friend. That's good. I am not your friend. I am your mama or your Mimi. And if I'm telling you this, I love you. I mean, you know, honestly, I probably would. Well, you have to die for kids all the time because you don't get to do what you want to do. You have to do what you have to do because you have children. But I think sometimes I understand what you're saying, friendly enough that they can talk to you about their problems and feel free to say, Dad, I don't like that, or I don't like it when you tease me, or something, and not just harbor those feelings to do that. But sometimes kids will get thrown off and feel like they're your friend and they can say or do anything because they say or do anything to and around their friend. And I think I'm old school, but I think a line needs to be drawn like, hey, don't get it twisted. I am your mama or your daddy. And you may talk to your friends like that, but I will be in jail. Just say it like that. So Kimberly's like, yeah, because when the Cosbys meet boys in the hood, issues arise. I think we're talking about the differences. I think we're talking about the differences of yeah, the the people who come together. You have people who have had a totally different experience growing up. And I used to have a guy I date say, you'll never understand. You were spoiled. You had both of your parents. Let me tell you something. Even if you have both of your parents, sometimes, especially back in our day, you may have been spoiled because, you know, you didn't have to worry about where your next meal was coming from or if you're going to be able to lay your head somewhere. Your parents took care of you, because there's some people's reality that never happened for them, that they always had to figure some things out for themselves. But don't get it twisted. I wasn't spoiled in the way that I didn't think I had to work when I got older, or I didn't think, well, I didn't have to clean up, but I may have been spoiled in that way, but we still had our stuff that we dealt with. Like a lot of times, the stuff that other people experience because maybe they had a lot more money than us and a lot less kids. I never had my own room growing up. What? Girl, please, you have brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters that has to share this space because there's so many of you guys, and y'all coming every 10, 18, 2 months. That's a lot. That's a lot. So anyway, let's go back to Bert says he might need counseling if he lose his bet and have to wear a Falcons jersey. Bert, do you need a Falcons jersey? You want me to have some Falcons people to send you a jersey? I'm joking. I'm telling y'all, these football fans, you cannot play with them, right? Because they don't count me as a football fan. Because, say for instance, Bert, who is your team? Let's say I'm going with Kim, and maybe Kim is a Cowboy fan, I'm guessing. I'd be like, okay, Kim, I got my Cowboy jersey. I'm gonna wear it with you and go cheer for your team. Because they're not playing against my team. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't have a dog in the fight. I might as well cheer yours on. So I'm hearing that is not what a fan does. A fan never cheers for another team, a real fan, and never wears another team's jersey. So that stuff he talking about, I guess that would hurt for a real fan. But I would be like, y'all mad that I didn't have on I went I went in cowboy country, right, with a Falcons jersey on, not a jersey, a shirt that said Falcons. And they were like, what is wrong with you? Are you trying to get kicked out of this Oklahoma club here? You know, we don't do Falcons. We're Cowboy fans. And I'm going, but my Cowboys jersey didn't match my black and white boots. This is, this is how I think, right? So they're like, oh my gosh, are you one of them? I guess, because that's the thing. I just recently learned anyway what all that stuff meant. And they were like, you know how to play football. You were a cheerleader all through high school. I said, so I was cheering because everybody else was cheering. I wasn't watching the game. I was making sure I was doing my flips right, my moves were right. I didn't have time to be watching the game. So anyway, y'all don't mess with me. Kimmy's like, the difference is people coming together. And I'm gonna tell you this right now before we get into the sports thing. You know, my sports people are gonna do their sports thing. Let's go back to the sport of living together successfully. And I know I have a lot of widows out there. You guys, we're almost done. But I know with this hour, I can't believe it. I know I have a lot of football widows out there. And what would you call the men? They're widows too, I guess. Because there's just as many of my women friends as my male friends love football, right? And so I'm like, oh, is it still football season? It's bad, I know. But my very good friend, I was going to call him a nickname, bought me San Francisco gear. So I have some cute little leggings, some earrings. I have all that stuff. So y'all football fans, don't be mad if I'm not rocking y'all stuff, especially if it's a San Francisco game. I'm going to have on my San Francisco gear. And like I told him, you want me to wear San Francisco gear? I guess you're going to have to get some because, you know, I don't really care about that. So, yeah, but he sent it and I'll be rocking it. So I'm a San Francisco 49ers fan and they are winners. I'm just saying, I do know that. I mean, I know a lot about football, but I know they're winners. And, you know, I was born a Cowboy fan. I'm sorry. Call me a cowgirl, cowboy, I don't know. But I was born understanding. I was very well coached by my dad and people in my hometown in Oklahoma that the Cowboys and Tom Landry were like next to God. So I am in Oklahoma and this is cowboy country for the most part. Now, I'm not saying you don't have other people who are not 49ers or Saints or whatever. At the end of the day, they're fans and they love them. And what I love about fans, I'm going to say this before I leave. What I love about fans, please give me one. Please give me a fan to spend my last quarter of life with. Because what I know about fans, especially them Saints fans, y'all can say what y'all want to say about them Saints fans. They would never burn a jersey or denounce them. I don't care if they lose them. They're going to stick with them. That's a fan. Get you a fan to connect with for the rest of your life. How about that? So all you football lovers who are single, how about that be your number one goal? That you go and find a fan, someone that will stick with you whether you're winning or losing, and who will wear your colors and be your cheerleader and even look goofy because of how much they love you. Find you one of them and marry them. So, without going Nash, Tom Landry, and the crew. That was the last time the Cowgirls was America's team. Hey, but you know what, Kimberly? This I do know. It don't matter where you are in this world, you can find a Cowboy fan. And they are not just somebody who will wear a jersey. I was on the beaches of was it Cabo San Lucas? I was somewhere, and this man had a whole I call it a cowboy star. He had a whole star tattooed on the right side of his leg in blue and some other color. And then going down it, he all the way down his leg, down his calf. I think he had cowboy something, a fan or whatever, love. But the point is, I'm way somewhere else. And that's, and I hear it like America's team, America's team. So yeah. Oh, Bert said he found his cheerleader. Oh, you didn't say cheerleader. Don't be putting stuff in your mind. I know yeah. He found his fan for life. But that's a point, you guys, you women who are married or with someone. Yeah. Consider bringing out them pom-poms and a cute little short cheerleader skirt. I'm just saying. Don't think I won't go buy one. So anyway, as we count out of here tonight, dads, you dad girls. I didn't even get to the point, or are you dad girls or mama's boys or something like that. Treat your woman like she was your princess, your baby, just grown up. She's queen now. Versus expecting her to be your mommy, the one who lets you have everything you wanted. You were spoiled and you didn't really care whether your mama ate or did anything else. You just wanted her to cook for you and show you and drop you off here and drop you there. And now you marry somebody that you want to treat you like your mama, but you're going to treat your little princesses like princesses. Get real. That's not acceptable. So anyway, with that being said, thank you for joining in and talking with me tonight on Pat Nash Talks. And next Sunday, you got to be here. I have a special treat. I have a special guest. I'm not going to even tell you, but they're going to be fabulous. And we're going to keep it real about male and female roles in a relationship. And we might even talk about business partnerships. So with that being said, I'm going to say good night to you. God bless you. I always wish you love and light, peace and blessings. And until we meet next week or sooner, peace. I love you.